Right, you battlers, we have some intense battles for you with a lot of lessons learned. These are going to be some battles with the best of them. Both of these amazing top tier ranked battlers are extremely dedicated, extremely skilled, and extremely experienced. For Season 1, both of these battlers ended in the top 100 for the Silph Arena global rankings. In fact, they battle so well, you might even call them elite. The first battler here to briefly introduce has been featured on many YouTube channels, including the Go Stadium channel, of course, but also bigger channels such as King. And this battler started developing a massive reputation for themselves towards the beginning of Season 1. They developed one of the first dominant team composition strategies that became well known in the Pokemon Go PvP scene. And so far, overall for Season 2, they have a total of 94 ranked battles with a 78.72 win to loss. This amazing battler is a personal favorite of mine. That is House Stark 93. The second battler, of course, being hailed as elite, has also developed a reputation for themselves in the Pokemon Go PvP community for posting regular top tier strategies on the Silph Arena subreddit, and also I'm sure is a personal favorite of many battlers. But so far overall, a total of 78 ranked battles with a win to loss of 76.92. Straight out of Buffalo, New York, we are also going to have Toshi. I highly recommend that you follow both of these battlers on as many platforms as you can if you want to keep up to date with some top tier strategies, because on screen we can highlight them, off screen when they practice and they scrim and they study, that is how the best become the best. And the links will be in the description. And the shoutcasting and the highlighting for these battles between these two elite trainers are going to be a little different. We ended up actually doing the casting with T-Wastel of the Go Stadium. Massive shout out to T-Wastel for the great play-by-play commentary throughout the casting of these matches. As you will notice, I was a little quiet compared to how I'm usually going to cover matches. So I was a little more quiet. I was kind of there for support, I guess. But nonetheless, what's more important is what we learned from these matches and what we learned from the battles. So let's get into the Go Stadium and see what the best have to offer.
All right, so we have House Stark versus Toshi's here in the Timeless Cup Finals. We have Meganium versus Dragonair here in the lead. This matchup is pretty bait dependent, actually. And right off the bat, it looks like we have a switch into Kingdra to chip away with Dragon Breath, and a counter switch to another Kingdra. Toshi here is going for the Octazooka. And he does get a shield, hoping to also get that debuff. Could be pretty huge here if he does, but he does not. And so now his Kingdra is taken out by Dragon Breaths, and House Stark's Kingdra has a full Octazooka ready to go and can probably get to the Outrage before it goes down, and is able to fire off that Outrage here against the Meganium. And
there would have been any reason to go for
in return
Bazooka into the Meganium, right? Definitely would want to use that.
Yeah, and now the Meganium's just farming with Vine Whips. Has a full Earthquake ready to go for whatever comes in next. I would think
he's going to come in with Meganium.
I think he comes in with Meganium because Meganium just kind of drains the energy a little bit more.
Oh. He did go for an Earthquake.
Oh man, he goes for an Earthquake. Definitely a big mistake there, because in this mirror match, a Frenzy Plant is a lot more energy efficient. So that misplay could end up costing him here.
Potentially.
I think he was expecting that. Yeah, I think he was probably expecting that Dragonair to come in. And so now they're just trading Frenzy Plants back and forth. Probably expecting no shields because Meganium is so bulky and is resisting everything here. And a quick switch by a House Stark here, switching into the Dragonair, trying to chip away with Dragon Breath and feint the Meganium down. We have a counter switch to Whiscash, but the Dragonair already has a Dragon Pulse, which looks like it's going unshielded, doing a ton of damage here. So Whiscash is in a pretty rough spot at this point. It's almost dead. Between the aggregate Dragon Breath damage plus that Dragon Pulse. And at this point, he fires off a Mud Bomb, able to take out the Dragonair. And he has another Mud Bomb here. Interesting to see if House Stark has been counting or not. and he knows it's not a blizzard, so correctly lets that go, and then farms down with the Vine Whips. So at this point, it's going to be real close, and Toshi is able to get off a Frenzy Plant, but House Stark still has a shield here, and I expect House Stark to just finish it off with Vine Whips and not even use a charge move.
2 versus 1 HP left.
But yeah, I think there the using the Earthquake was definitely kind of the turning point. He could have potentially gotten an extra Frenzy Plant off there, and seeing how close that match was, that probably would have could have flipped the match.
That was definitely wasted energy to use the energy, or to use the Earthquake against the Meganium in the mirror. It left him, he really lost his pacing, I think is what the problem was. He knew the matchups, and I think he played well for the rest of the match, but just that he needed that energy big time.
Yeah, and I think he was expecting that Dragonair to come back in, and that's why he fired off that Earthquake. But yeah, good play by House Stark, bringing in the Meganium, because he knows Meganium is going to resist everything that another Meganium can throw at it. So even though Toshi's Meganium was able to farm up a lot of energy, he kind of neutralized that by bringing in his own Meganium. Yeah, so in the mirror match, Frenzy Plant does the same amount of damage as Earthquake, but for 20 less energy.
Oh, jeez. That's 20 energy down the drain.
All right, so we have a Meganium versus a Meganium mirror here in the lead. Jay probably expecting them to both just stay in and kind of trade Frenzy Plants back and forth.
I would definitely assume so, especially with the wasted energy, unfortunately, that we had in round 1. By using the Earthquake against the Meganium, I think it's better to stay in on this matchup and just go straight frenzies.
Yeah, the only question will be if one of them maybe tries to swap into a Dragon Breath user to kind of feint down towards the end and try to, kill the Meganium with some wasted energy.
Exactly. That's kind of a common sniping play we've seen a lot in Timeless.
Because, yeah, I mean, after this Frenzy Plant goes off, they're both going to be pretty low here. And we see Toshi go for that exact strategy and feint down with Dragon Breath. He is locked in. He is locked in with the Kingdra, but that's not in a bad spot considering how Stark has a Kingdra and a Lapras here in the back.
He actually a shield too with an Octazooka. He
gets a shield, and yeah, he was ahead on energy. Gets that Octazooka off, so he's in a pretty good spot here. And then it looks like how Stark is able to feint down with just Dragon Breaths at that point. But Toshi comes back in with Meganium that was still alive and is able to force that second shield with a Frenzy Plant.
It had nothing on it. That was clutch.
And, good play by House Stark, feigning down with the Ice Shard. But Toshi's definitely in a good spot here because he's is at a shield advantage. Though Whiscash versus Lapras is not the best matchup. He actually has 2 shields to none.
Double shield advantage, yeah.
So yeah, he was able to, play this match pretty well to put himself in a very favorable spot, up 2 shields.
Even with the defense boosted on that Lapras, just the, Whiscash and having that shield advantage, I feel like it's pretty much locked in.
Yeah, I mean, that Lapras is definitely tanking these moves pretty well, though, because of that Skull Bash. Oh, and interesting, he's going for another Skull Bash.
Did he not?
And it goes unshielded.
No shield on that? What?
Oh, man.
Why did he not? What?
I think he was expecting a Surf and thought he could tank it. But real good play by House Stark there. Expecting...
That was a huge play.
Expecting that Toshi would probably let it go, thinking that he could tank a Surf, and just nailing him with a Skull Bash to win the game. That definitely felt like Toshi's game to lose, because he did maneuver the game so well to get up by 2 shields to none, but ultimately wasn't able to capitalize. Through those first 2 games, I think the story was really just that House Stark executed, played 2 mistake-free games. And Toshi in game 1 made that mistake using the Earthquake against the Meganium, and then in game 2 there doesn't shield the Skull Bash, which was unfortunate because he really maneuvered that game in a very masterful way, I thought. When he swapped out the Meganium into the Kingdra to be able to feint down House Stark's Meganium before it got off a charge move, and then being able to bring his own Meganium back in later with a full charge move ready to go. I thought those were very good plays, but ultimately weren't quite enough because he didn't shield that Skull Bash. All right, so we got a game 3 here, only from a House Stark side this time. It looks like he's leading Relicanth, which he didn't bring before, and calls a very favorable lead against Celio, forcing the swap to Kingdra. And this time he opts to counter swap to Dragonair, even though he has his own Kingdra in the back.
Do you think that's a risky swap, coming in with the Dragonair to answer the Kingdra?
I think he wants to preserve his own Kingdra in the back. So even if his Dragonair doesn't fully take out the Kingdra, he'll get it mostly dead. And then at that point, his Kingdra is basically full health here and can feint down. So, that play, now he has an almost full health Kingdra, and he's up a shield here. So I think that was the right play. Kingdra just has a lot more closing ability than Dragonair does. And also because he knows of the Celio, Kingdra has a much better Celio matchup than Dragonair does. So I think that was definitely the right play, using the Dragonair and saving his Kingdra. Now
it's kind of a cushion play. I mean,
it's definitely a little risky now because of this Meganium, right? Because Meganium has such a favorable Relicanth matchup, and Meganium is also better against his Kingdra. But I think in the bigger picture, I think that was the right play. So now this is going to be real close because the Meganium has a Frenzy Plant here and quite a bit of energy.
He's going to want a Dragon Breath down, isn't he?
He wants to Dragon Breath down. It's just a question of whether the Meganium gets to a Frenzy Plant in time or not. And barely gets that Frenzy Plant.
Maybe. I would have went for the Octazooka. No, I don't think you would have come out of it if you did use the Octazooka.
Yeah, because, then he still had to go through... What was it in the back again?
He still had the Celio, didn't he?
Yeah, I think the Celio still had some health on it left. So he definitely needed to save that energy to try to outrage the Celio down. Yeah, I mean, because that Celio was at over half health. So if he Octazookas the Meganium, then I think this Celio is just gonna finish him off. So I think
for the win.
I think that was really his only path to victory. But yeah, I think I do think that the Dragonair play was the correct play given what he knew. But maybe looking back at it, maybe swapping in Kingdra would have been the better play to save his own Dragonair for the Meganium. But obviously he didn't know what that last mon was in the heat of the battle.
There are so many, different lessons and takeaways from these matches. Some specific takeaways are: don't be too hasty on using your charge move when you're waiting for your opponent to bring in their next Pokemon. Take your time to study specific mirror matchups in the top meta. Be sure to counter your opponent's fast moves so you know how much energy they have built up, and as we saw as an example, if they are going to be able to have access to another Skull Bash or not. But also with the amazing gameplay that we saw come out from House Stark, these flawless games, and the way that he executed with that kind of precision as a top tier player, that could possibly come from the amount of practice that you put in for these cups. Remember, as we introduced them for this video, House Stark does have a total of 94 ranked battles compared to Toshi's 78, so that could also be a factor, just more experienced in higher ranked play. So again, I encourage you to follow both of these battlers. Again, links will be in the description below. And also as a reminder, please remember there is coaching available from these top tier battlers. If you are interested in supporting these top players so they can travel more for more tournaments, the link to the Patreon is going to also be in the description below. So definitely check that out if you are interested in helping to grow the Pokemon Go PvP scene, but more importantly, to be able to be coached by these amazing performers, right? So again, thank you to T. Wastel, and thank you to you for watching the video. Remember to leave a like, it really does help a lot. And as always, subscribe for the Go Stadium vibe and power up punch the notification bell for all the Go Stadium PvP content. That's it for this video. We will see you in the next video. Battlers, take it one battle at a time and have a good freaking day.